Favorite phrase was great sports weekend. Reality, lost sports weekend.
Big time.
What a miserable weekend in college football. And speaking of people being unhappy, they're not happy with Lincoln Riley up at USC. He came in, he's making mega money. They brought all these recruits. This was going to be national championship caliber football. He's not a guy that interacts with the fans. Very distant with the media, even more distant. He doesn't do things with, quote, the Trojan Club, with the alumni. I mean, he is really hands off. And I thought Chip Kelly was strange in terms of his relationships. Not vibes that I hear. Lincoln Riley just he's in his own little world, and you're not allowed inside that world. And his world right now is black and blue. They got battered by Utah, mugged by Utah. You lost. You're a Trojan, and you lost to Utah's third-string quarterback who didn't have his number one running back nor his number one wide receiver, and you got battered. Kyle Whittingham has beat the Trojans 4 years in a row. Caleb Williams running for his life. Poor Caleb. Every time I turn up on the TV, there's Caleb doing a commercial.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's in a lot of them.
Yeah, he's doing very well off the field, but running for his life because he's got no protection. Same old, no defense at all. And Utah just methodically goes down the field and finds a way to score. How the hell does that talent level in Salt Lake City beat this talent level at the LA Coliseum? Reaction to what you saw?
Yeah, it's supposed to be the year of the quarterback, Lee, in
Yeah.
the Pac-12. So what happened to Caleb Williams? He was lighting the world on fire. We thought he was going to be a back-to-back Heisman guy, but now the Trojans have lost two. There's no way they're going to make the playoffs, and I would assume that he's out of the Heisman conversation.
Well, I have a Heisman vote, so he's not in the upper echelon yet. Now, he started like a house of fire, but people figure you out, and then you start playing real people. And all of a sudden, they find out deficiencies in that offensive line. He's running for his life every time he's operating out of the shotgun. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. The running game has gone away because they can't run block, and the pass blocking has been negligible. So it's a big issue there. UCLA beat Stanford. It was strange. Chip Kelly, who just isn't real honest with the media, limits their access to practice, doesn't want to talk about who's available, unavailable. He sat his freshman quarterback, Dante Moore, went with the journeyman transfer Chase Garbers. Garbers played well enough for them to beat a bad Stanford team. I would have thought, though, Dante Moore is dynamic, and he is the future. I would have thought, let the kid work his way through the adversity on the field. He had thrown 6 picks in his last 3 games. He had thrown a pick 6 in each of the last 3 UCLA games. So I was kind of surprised Chip Kelly did it that way. And, now they're getting ready. They're going to play Colorado this weekend at SoFi. So the burning question is Dante Moore going back in the lineup, or you're going to have Chase Garbers, who transfer from Cal, fringe guy, journeyman guy, let him be the starting quarterback. So I just happen not to be, I shouldn't hold grudges, but you rubbed off on me. I can't forgive Chip Kelly for what he did to the Holiday Bowl down here.
Oh, yeah. What a disgrace that was. Yep. I mean, God, we don't want UCLA coming down to San Diego anymore because they screwed us. They're backing out like at the 11th hour. But, I think you got to start Dante Moore. I mean, he's your guy. And meanwhile, Stanford, they came back and beat Colorado. I mean, they're not that bad of a team, so I don't know. UCLA is kind of interesting to see, but I have a problem with these head coaches, whether they're pro or college. If you're not friendly with the media, friendly with the boosters, I mean, you're going to ultimately be your own demise. I mean, these are supporters. There could be fans, could be, your marketing agency, that's what a good press could really help promote the program. You seal yourself off, you're going to start getting a target on your back.
Yeah, really surprised how those head coaches, SC, UCLA, conduct their business. Brady Hoke needs friends, that's for certain. I don't know if this is rock bottom, but this is not what we expected. San Diego State losing to Nevada, losing to an 0-6 team, losing to a team that had lost 16 games in a row, losing to a team that was 119th in the nation defensively, losing to a team that was 130th in scoring defense. They lost to Nevada 6-0. Now, I've been here covering Aztec football for a long time, broadcast the Aztecs for about 9 different years, through some good times and some really bad times. In modern day football, I thought the worst loss I had ever seen was when San Diego State in the old WAC went to Las Vegas, played UNLV at the end of the season. Vegas was 0-10, and the Rebels beat the Aztecs. Ted Tollner was the coach, and that was pretty much the end of Ted Tollner's run. And then in the 15 minutes that Chuck Long was here as head coach, they played it in Fort Worth at TCU, and they lost, I think it was 73-6.
Ooh.
So there have been some bad Aztec losses. This one wasn't good at all. I had only 78 yards at halftime. They had 204 yards for the entire game. Jalen Maiden fumbled again, killed the last drive when they thought they could get in and make it a 7-6 win rather than a 6-0 loss. They've just regressed. They've regressed from a play calling standpoint. They've regressed probably from a talent level standpoint. Obviously, they regressed in terms of head coaching credibility standpoint too. And there's something I thought about late last night. What's really alarming to me is I see the same similarities at San Diego State right now as we do this Monday bonus podcast as I saw in Ann Arbor in the final year when Brady Hoke was head coach, when the Michigan man, he went through quarterbacks. He had all kinds of problems at quarterback. Then he fired his offensive coordinator, Al Borges. And next thing you know, Brady Hoke is out of a job. And what's happened at San Diego State? They've lost 5 quarterbacks in about 2 years via transfers. Guys quitting, guys leaving. And he fired his offensive coordinator, whom he had hired a year ago. There's too many similarities there. I'm shocked that it's as bad as it is right now. And yeah, the record says 3-5, but I think it's a lot deeper with a lot more problems than just being 3-5. Your reaction?
Oh, I mean, I was really hard to watch that game on television. And, you know, the fans are barely there. Everyone's leaving in the middle of the game. I mean, imagine trying to sell season tickets to the Aztecs. I mean, what are you selling on? You know, just come to our stadium because we've got good food and beer. But it's a disaster. And when Hoke came here originally, and he brought along, who was the old guy again? The defensive coordinator?
Rocky Long.
Rocky Long, pardon me. He brought along Rocky Long, and they had a really great, coaching staff, and they resurrected the San Diego State program. And we thought Brady Hoke was it. And then he gets taken up by Michigan, and we're like, oh man, we just lost a great coach.
But then Rocky did a great job. Then Rocky elected to step away from coaching. I thought bringing Brady back as his D-line coach and then elevating him back up, you just keep on trucking. But boy, this thing has gone off the road into the ditch.
Totally off the road. And I know you go to the press conferences and you like Brady Hoke. I mean, as a man, but boy, has this been a disgrace on the field. And, he's scoring 0 points
against those guys,
against Nevada, who's like terrible. I mean, they had lost 16 in a row before that game. I mean, this is rock bottom. It can't get worse than this.
SDSU. You know what that stands for?
No.
Same damn screw-ups.
Yep. That's exactly right.
Oh, this is awful. Okay. Hey, Aztec fan, all one of you, join us in Fans Forum. Your response. The USD situation really bothers me. It's a terrible season at 1-6. They fired a good man, Dale Lindsay, as head coach, who'd done a really good job. I think his record was 80-40, and they let him go at the end of the season without real explanation. And so they replaced him with a new coach, Brendan Moore, who'd never been a head coach. And then you get the hazing scandal. It's tough because I expected them to be fairly competitive, even with the transition to a new offense with a new head coach. But the scandal and how they've handled it, refused to handle it, I think has been deplorable. This is the Catholic school up on the hill, which has refused to provide their coach access to the media at all. No player interviews, no coaching interviews. And I hold Bill McGillis, the athletic director, responsible because it's your job to run this program and to run it correctly, which means media access, answer questions, no transparency. This Catholic university on the hill is acting as if this didn't happen. Well, it did happen because 40 of your 73 players evidently were involved in some form or fashion. Answer the questions, get on and fix the football program. It's so unfair to the kids that they refuse to market it. They refuse to allow coaching interviews, player interviews. They're treating it like a club sport. Hell, what's next? Flag football at USD? It's terrible what they've done, allowed to happen, and the way they've mishandled the situation. That's one man's opinion on Torero's football, but it's bad on the field. But to me, credibility-wise, it's even worse with the president of the university, the CEO, and the athletic director.
Well, Catholic school, and then they're taking the same playbook from the Catholic Church, here with cover-ups and everything else, which is a mess. But I thought the old coach, Dale Lindsay, wasn't he suing them for age discrimination?
I don't know if the lawsuit ever got filed, but he was unceremoniously dumped. Now, had they slipped a little bit? Yeah. In the last year and a half, they'd slipped a little bit, wound up 5-5, but then perennially they were a really good 1AA football program, non-scholarship at their level. I thought he got treated rather rudely, but this is a whole different dimension, the way they've mishandled it. Okay, we go from